Back to talking about Dune after some time passed, because honestly, when a couple of my Dune videos became viral, and I only started talking about Dune, at some point I got a Dune burnout, and I wanted to get the hell away for a bit and talk about something else I'm passionate about, because spoiler alert, I don't only care about Dune. But anyway, I've been rewatching the films again and rereading the books in Italian for practice, so there will be new Dune content coming. Now, I want to talk about this nice parenting scene from Dune Part 1, between Paul and his dad, where basically we get the age-old dilemma of the dad being a pushy son of a bitch to his children and making them do whatever he wants them to do, traumatizing them in the process. But oh no, plot twist. In Dune Part 1, Duke Leto is actually a very woke and nice progressive human being, where he does realize he can't do that to his child. And even though in this case we're not just talking about taking up a career or whatever, we're literally talking taking over a dynasty. Even so, in the face of that much pressure, Duke Leto is astonishingly progressive and portrayed as a good parent that just puts their child first. And so here's what I want to say about that. Naturally, this scene should make me feel good. I do want to see good parenting. I do want to see children not being traumatized by their shitty parents. Even more so because I myself am a survivor of generational trauma, or at least I think I am, and by all ways of logic, this scene should make me feel nice, and I should relish in the positive emotion it gives off. And I do. It does make me feel nice. But here it comes. Even if it does make me get teary, it also feels somewhat out of place for me. In a way, when it comes to psychological maturity that corresponds to our modern day standards of morality, I do not feel like this would be logical to put into the world of Dune. Dune takes place in an age that, even though it's in the very far-off future, and supposedly everything should be advanced, moral standards included, it is an age that is still very much actually backward in relation to our own day. And what do I mean by that? I'm not talking literally backward in terms of technology. The world of Dune is certainly much more advanced than us in both technology and biochemistry. However, and this is one of those contradictions that made me fall in love with Dune in the first place, even though the Dune world is ahead of us in almost every other way, it is very much, at least in my opinion, regressed in terms of morality. You know, Dune is in the far-off future, and yet you have empires and space feudalism. Dune is in the future, and yet the life of average people generally seems to be much worse than ours, at least from what I remember in the books. There's no humanitarian work, there's no altruism, there's no mercy or charity. It's just harsh imperialism, oligarchy, or literal tyranny. It's basically survival of the fittest and survival of the richest, which is a very bleak future. It's like the early Middle Ages in Europe, only with advanced machines. And in the books, I absolutely loved this insane contrast, and this very weird civilization molded out from both the future and the past. And with this in mind, the film's depiction of such an endearingly modern father figure feels like it goes against the grain of the story. Furthermore, no matter how much of a nice and loving father you want to be, if you're the head of a giant and ultra-powerful dynasty that has a hand in shaping the world as we know it, you just have to have the sense that even if your child suffers for it, you do need to burden him with the obligation of continuing your role. If Duke Leto was some kind of a poor middle-class dad in the world of Dune, wanting his kid to just be happy and live the way he wants to live, yeah, that would be fine. But the problem is, he isn't. The stakes here are too monumental for him to be so short-sighted as to say to his male heir, yeah, no, you can do whatever you want, it's fine. If you don't want to work for the family and protect it after me, screw it, that's totally fine. And it's not only that it doesn't make sense with the character of Leto to just not care about the future of his dynasty, it also doesn't make sense that Duke Leto would exhibit such a sentiment in the world of Dune in the first place. Because as we said, the world of Dune is like a sci-fi version of the Dark Ages, where we have the technological advancement, but also moral and psychological regression. Meaning that people, generally, don't pay so much attention to sentimental stuff like love or caring for your child's happiness. What they would pay attention to in such a harsh world is survival. And in this case, we're talking about the leader of a dynasty, so not only does he have to care about his own survival, but the survival of his family and nation. When you have to care about that, what's the damn happiness of one of your children? I wouldn't ever expect him to think and behave like this in a place as horrible as the Dune universe. Can you imagine, for example, the Emperor Augustus saying to the future Emperor Tiberius, "It's fine if you don't want to inherit my throne, only do it if it makes you happy." No chance in hell this would have happened. Augustus was a paranoid nutjob when it came to securing his succession. Just ask his wife Livia and her figs. So yeah, as much as I love how sweet this scene is, and how it tugs on my heartstrings, it really doesn't make sense. It's almost like I want him to slap Paul across the face and tell him to stop being a little bitch. Anyway, I'll keep rewatching and be back for more commentary.